Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And today on the Bold Unstoppable Show, I have four very special panelists that are going to talk about our phenomenal topic today, which is women who lead. From the boardroom to the battlefield, women are breaking barriers and redefining leadership every single day, particularly now in this day and age. But what does it take to step into your power and lead with authenticity? As you know, we've got a lot going on in our world. And so today we're celebrating the unstoppable women who dare to defy the odds and pave the way for others to rise. And so, ladies, if you could do a quick 8-second, 10-second introduction of who you are and where you're from or what your business is, I would appreciate it. So, Sandra, let's go with you first.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandra Kokotovic. I am located in Kitchener, Ontario. Originally, I'm from Romania, though, so I moved to Canada 20 years ago. I am a marketer and a fractional CMO, and I spend most of my time on my marketing agency. I work with brands, especially in the biohacking and health industry, to scale, to reach those multiple 7 figures and 8 figures annual revenues. And I'm also an e-com founder. I have founded several e-com brands, most of them a lot of good lessons, and a few of them successful in the $1 million plus revenue. And I think
welcome to the show, Sandra. Let's bring it, Caren.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Caren Carnegie. I'm the founder and personal trainer for Transform Fitness Coaching and certified spiritual life coach and a mom and wife and a dental hygienist. And I offer a different approach to personal training and a unique connection to members and people I have met through my kind of spiritual attunement and a better understanding of who they are as multidimensional beings.
Perfect. Welcome to the show. Dr. Pamela J. Pine, tell us about you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and us. By background and training, I'm an international public health, development and communication professional working internationally for the last number of decades. I'm also the original founder of an organization called Stop the Silence, which focuses on the prevention, treatment, and mitigation of child sexual abuse and other adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. And we are now a part of the Institute on Violence, Abuse, and Trauma, and I am the director of the department. So I've been working around the world for a really long time, and my primary focus for the past 25 years has been on child protection.
Perfect. Welcome to the show, Dr. Pamela. And Kelly, tell us where you're from.
Well, thank you. I'm the third Canuck in the group. I'm from Windsor, Ontario, actually a little town outside of Windsor called Amherstburg, but no one would know it, so I just say Windsor. Very close to the Detroit, Michigan border. I started my career in law enforcement. I'm only 5 feet tall, but I was the use of force tactical communications instructor for the province. But my entrepreneurial wings, they kind of took over. And then I founded Canada's first premier medical travel association, where I traveled the world helping Canadians on our socialized system achieve healthcare elsewhere. And now I am not new in another role. I am a professional keynote speaker. I've spoken everywhere.
I'm sorry. I'm so happy to have all of you here, and I want to get into the show because the time is going to go very, very fast. And so my first question, and anyone feel free to take this question. The first question is, what are the unique challenges women face when stepping into leadership roles? Who wants to take that question?
I'll take it.
Okay, go.
I think there are a lot of challenges, and I think we'd all agree that there are lots of challenges. The fact that we are still seen to some extent, and certainly within certain fields or orientations, as weaker or indecisive or unable to perform as well, or not as skilled, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I've got a funny story that I'd be happy to relate now or later, but I grew up in the time of feminism. And that changed my world because I did grow up with be good, be kind, be sweet to everybody and everything and always. That changed pretty radically for me as a result of growing up with feminism around me and allowed me to speak my voice and to have the faith in my skills to move forward, frankly, in any direction I so
Love
chose.
it. I love it. And so the next question I want to ask, ladies, is how can we shatter stereotypes about women in power? And if you could kindly keep your answers to like 30 seconds, no more than 45 seconds, so that everyone has a chance to engage, that would be fabulous. Who wants to take that?
You can
Go
take
ahead,
that
Pamela.
first. I think honestly, just staying true to yourself and knowing that this is a human thing. It is a human thing. Stay true to who you are, and and I don't want my kids or kids in the future to see us as men versus women. I think compassion, empathy, understanding where people are coming from on their own journeys too, and not blaming others, but just staying true to who you are, because at the end of the day, that's what you have. You're going to have your own passion and your own authenticity and your own representation.
Love it. Love it. I love it. I mean, I think it's important for people to understand that we're women and we all have different experiences when it comes to stepping in those leadership and power roles. And so the more that we can engage and enhance and allow women to be who they are authentically, the better it is for society in general. And so we are at our time for our first break. So we're going to take pause for this first break. All righty, we are back. And so the question we were discussing was, how can we shatter stereotypes about women in power? How about you, Kelly? Why don't you answer? Give us your thoughts about how we can shatter those stereotypes, particularly because you were in law enforcement. So, yeah.
Yes. Well, you know what? Many times it was me on my team and I was the only female. And I'm also 5 feet tall, so I'm not an intimidating force. So what I learned is that you have to walk in as yourself, knowing all of your skills, all of your traits, all of your beliefs, and you bring those forward and you have the courage to say, these are my limits, just as everybody else should be able to say what their limits are, and that we work as a collective group together for the greater good.
Do you think that men are intimidated when we as women show up and we are standing in our power position, our power zone, so to speak? Do you think we intimidate men just a little bit?
Not a strong and confident man.
Love it.
I
love
hope
it.
that they'd be really proud and actually, that they want to be inspired as well.
Yeah,
I think people are intimidated by strong people, and I think particularly women who speak their mind. People don't know what to do with that half the time.
You're right. I'm that girl. I grew up in a family. I'm the only granddaughter on both sides, and I have I try to command it wherever I go. And I started a business in a male-dominated industry, and because I command it and I stand with power, even if I'm afraid, or kind of hesitant, I always come in and stand with power and authority in my own zone. Sometimes I have found that it does intimidate men, especially if they're not comfortable and confident in their own skills in dealing with a woman in power. And when I think about women in power who command it, who comes to mind for me is Michelle Obama. She commands it. When you see her speaking or in the presence, she commands it. And sometimes men do get intimidated until they open up dialogue and understand that this woman is just a woman that's just walking her walk, so to speak, commanding her empire. And there's no need to be intimidated, because together we can come to and unite and really have a beautiful harmony with whatever it is we're trying to do in the world. So it is very interesting. But I tell any woman, if you are powerful and you know it, command it. Don't little yourself to make a man feel comfortable. Never make yourself small to make a man feel comfortable, because you'll get a lot more accolades by commanding it instead of dumbing down yourself. So I love this dialogue, because I think in this day and age, this is important for us to not only share our wisdom, but it's important for the ladies and the young women that are coming and growing up behind us to understand that it's okay to command your throne as a woman in no matter what position you're in, whether you're in leadership or a subservient position. It's okay to be that commanding person. Now, let me ask you this, ladies. What role does mentorship play in helping women lead?
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. It's a community, like a big community. Like this right now that we're in right now talking is a community. Us as women are a community, people and like-minded people that are doing similar things. Mentorship is, is helping one another. It's cheering each other on. That goes such a long way. When there's people doing things that you're in alignment with, cheer them on. I don't care if people don't have a clue who I am or think that I've gone mad on social media, but I will be there cheering them on. On the other hand, though, I am very comfortable questioning things that I don't. In a really respectful way. And,
Right.
Questioning should coexist with respect and kindness. I'm not afraid to do that. But I think just cheering each other on is just huge. It can make a big difference.
I love it. Sandra, what are your thoughts? Because you're the quiet one.
I'm so enjoying all of these answers. I think so. First of all, just to piggyback on what Caren said, I think you need to be a girl's girl. I think that's the new term in the Instagram world today. But I think in terms of mentorship, I think we need it. I think I've had it perhaps a little bit easier than the people that I have followed. I am still at the beginning of my career, so to say. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've had some situations where I had to shatter some ceilings and overcome some hurdles, but not as many as, let's say, my mom did or other women in my family. But what I would say is, for the women that have been in those positions of power, that do command the power, and they are in the executive positions, they've had it, I think, a little bit harder than someone from my generation. And I feel like that's where the stereotype of the woman, kind of like the term B boss comes from, where she's a little bit she's had it, she's tired, she's worked so hard her entire life because she was always in a room full of men. She was at that, she's fought for her place from the little table in the corner to the big boys table. And I feel like sometimes my experience has been that maybe they're so far removed from the women that do need mentorship that it's kind of like our responsibility to bring it back to their attention and say, hey, we admire what you've done. We admire everything you've gone through. But please don't forget about us, because we also need a little bit of a help, right? And if you can pave the way a little bit for us, we'll be grateful, and we'll do it in return for the people that follow. I think it's absolutely necessary. Like I said,
I agree with you. I agree. I think early in my career as a business owner, it was important for me to find mentors, because I was running a business in my own little zone that I started in a male-dominated industry. And I know that if I had not had those women that took me under their wings and mentored me, I would have never been able to take my business to being one of the top 50 women-owned businesses in Silicon Valley. So I think mentorship for the younger generation, us being those leaders and those mentors, are very, very important. And it's time for our next break. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about this. All right, we are back. And so we're having this discussion about, from the boardroom to the battlefields, how women are breaking barriers and redefining leadership every day. My next question for you ladies is this: how can women support each other in leadership roles? Dr. Pamela, how about you take that first answer?
Sure. I think in every way. Unfortunately, honestly speaking, that doesn't always happen. I mean, we've all perhaps had female and male leaders who have or have not treated us well. And I think that having a woman at the helm who does, in fact, bring you forward, support you, identify where you're wrong, correct where things need to change, but doing it in a fashion that is compassionate and thoughtful, shows other women, first of all, how to move ahead, but second of all, also how to move ahead well and respectfully. And I think that's critical. You know, we were talking about that last question, I was thinking from Roosevelt to Jane Goodall, we've had these women who have been presented to us, and it shows us what the possibilities are. And women in leadership positions can be that for other women who are working with and under them, so to speak, under them. Yes.
You know what? I love that answer, because so oftentimes women are stereotyped, especially if they're in a very top leadership role, CEO or president, or in that upper C-suite, and they get termed as being a bitch, right? And we all have heard that. We've all experienced those women that are bitches. But in a context of using that word, when I see women like that, it tells me that, one, they might be a little bit insecure because they are in a male space, so to speak, and they just are not comfortable leading from that female energy, so to speak. But also, they are being in total control of themselves, and they're beautiful, intelligent, talented, compassionate, and healthy. And that is an acronym, or a bitch is an acronym for that. And so when I see those women, I try to think of those acronyms and see how I can place those women in those acronyms, because not everything that appears on the surface is what's underneath. Sometimes when you have the conversations with those women that appear to be bitches, they are the nicest women and they're willing to help. But because of their role and their leadership, in the position of leadership they're in, they feel that they have to be that way in order to be coexisting in the male space. And so it's just this whole beautiful dialogue and way we show up, but we can still be respectful. We can still go to these women leaders that present themselves that way. And some of the most complimentary things that I think we can do is when we come across a woman that we feel is being a bitch, ask that woman to be a mentor to you. Watch how she completely transform and changes. She may say no, she may say yes, you never know. But have a woman that's commanding it like that, and to help you to get to where you want to be and to be your mentor, is a huge compliment to women like that. Okay, so my next question is, can vulnerability be a strength in leadership? What are your thoughts, lady? Can we be vulnerable and still be that fabulous leader that we know we're meant to be?
I think vulnerability is our superpower. I think that if we walk into the room and we say, here's my story, what's your story? How do we collaborate? Let's talk about the different things between our cultures, our inner belief systems, how we're woven together. Here's my truth. Here's my bad day. Here's my best day. And I invite you to do the same to me. And we bring that into the business environment. Then people will drop their armor at the door. They will walk in there. They will feel safe. They will feel productive, and they will want to succeed. And more than that, they will want to be the ripples to push everybody else to their safest, most successful shore.
Yeah.
Oh,
it'll create
wow.
a more kind of open vibration, more welcoming, rather than that upfront, bitch facade. This just shows, I'm an open book. This is how it is. It just shows that, again, like, we are all multidimensional. We've all been through things. And I think, these iconic women that Dr. Pine mentioned didn't just fall from the sky successful. They had gone through all kinds of shit to get to that point. And we need to remember when we're talking to people that is likely the case.
That is so true. When I think of like women like, Oprah, who was told she was too fat and ugly to be a network broadcasting, and here she's like a billionaire, right? She said, watch me. When I think of ladies like Rosa Parks, who had the courage to not go to the back of the bus because she was tired and sat in that front seat, that became a game changer, not just for women of color, but for women, saying it's okay for you to be vulnerable. It's okay to put yourself in those vulnerable positions, because you never, ever know what your vulnerability is going to do for your gender, for your race, for society in general. So it's I think it comes from women who are vulnerable. They come from a place of strength. Like, I don't know, you guys are probably too old, but Dr. Pamela and Kelly might know, like Wonder Woman. You know, Wonder Woman had that suit on and she was cute and she had those gold bracelets and all of that. But she came from a place of strength, even in her most vulnerable moments. And so I think it's very powerful for us to not only show our vulnerability, but people can relate to us much better when they know that we're not perfect, right? When they know that we have things that we've done and we needed to get over. And so I think it's just amazing, the wisdom that we are sharing with the world right now about it's okay, ladies, to be vulnerable, because you never know who or another sister you might be helping, that you gave the strength and the permission for her to share her vulnerability. Now we've got to take one more break, you guys, but I promise we will be back and have more engaging dialogue with these fabulous panel of guests I have. All right, we are back on the Bold Unstoppable Show, and I have some fabulous panelists with me, Sandra, Caren, Kelly, and Dr. Pamela. And so we're going to continue our conversation with regards to women who lead, and these women who lead are breaking barriers. The next question I have for you ladies is this. What advice would you give to a woman struggling to find their leadership voice? Yes, Sandra.
I'll answer this. Don't wait for it to be given to you, or don't wait for the permission to be a leader. I've been running my own business for 8 years. So being self-employed, I have no other choice but to be a leader to myself, to my team, to my clients, to their projects. But I found that when I was employed, and I found that we're so conditioned in general to wait for that leadership title, right? You're waiting for someone who's here, and then you feel like you're here, and you're told that you got to get some experience, you got to do this for a few years, you got to meet I don't know what many people, you got to do this, you got to do that, and then maybe after a while you're going to become a leader. And I feel like somehow it's embedded in us that leadership is some title we kind of like aspire to be, and it's given to us by someone else, when in reality, if you decide you want to be a leader, you can be a leader. Leadership is not just a title. It's a way for you to act, a way for you to be. It can be a career, it can just be a principle that you live by, but it's something that has to come from you, and you don't have to wait for someone's permission to become a leader. Now, you got to walk the walk and not just talk the talk, and think about what that leader, you as a leader, looks like, and make sure that you're acting on it. But the one advice I would give to aspiring women in business and that want to shatter ceilings would be, don't wait to be given that permission or the title to become a leader.
I love it. Okay, so I'm going to ask this question. It's really not about what we're talking about, but how many of you ladies were bossy little girls? I know I was. I was so
an introvert.
bossy. No, I was so bossy. So, you know, I'm saying I grew up around a bunch of boys and I was bossy, but, and I was always told, you're so bossy. You're always, and I'm like, you know, I think about that. And I think, for me, I was bossy because I think the divine had a destiny for me to be a woman, to be a woman that started the first minority-owned, woman-owned telecommunications installation company in the United States, to be a leader for other women. And of course, yeah, you know, growing up with boys, I'm going to tell them what I want them to do. It kind of transcended. And when I got married, I would tell my husband what I wanted him to do. He didn't always do it. But I think being a bossy little girl helped me to step in and really embrace my leadership roles, because when I became that leader, I wasn't bossy, but I was direct, and I was very mindful of how I was coming across to other people, because as a little girl, I was told, you're so bossy, and I didn't want to come across that way. I wanted to have a team, not me bossing people around. So I think it's super important for us to lead with compassion and to be examples for the younger generation, and to give them permission to be who they are in their own self-created mindset of what they vision a leader to be. All right, ladies, we can definitely talk more about this, but I want to ask this question. What's your vision for the next generation of leaders? What are your visions? I know in America, we have different sets, but I have 3 ladies from Canada here. And so I want to hear from you ladies in Canada. What do you see with regards to the question?
I sense just unstoppable human beings, absolutely limitless. I want them to know my kids, your kids, everyone's kids, that they belong at whatever freaking table that they want to be at. They belong there. Do not wait, like Sandra said, do not wait for your conditions to change. I don't even want them to even think that that's an option, that they're just going to go for it. I don't want them to have to worry about unpacking stuff, from before. It's just a way of life that they just belong, that they feel accepted and they have the courage to go for it.
I love it. Anyone else want to comment before we close this show?
I'd like to see an international movement for women and everyone else to provide them with the kind of support that they need in order to grow. We're talking about people without water, without food, with living in terrible conditions. And my head always goes there in any kind of discussion like this, because we're incredibly privileged. We are, and we don't even think about it on a daily basis. I'd like to see the world progress, of course, but there are people who can't even take the first steps, and we need to be helping the world move forward in those ways so that they can be all they can be as well.
I love it, ladies. This dialogue is amazing. A long time ago, a lady told me she was the number one business owner in Silicon Valley. And this was in the early 90s. And she had a company that was making $800 million in the 90s. So imagine what she's doing today if she still held that company. But she said, it's okay to grab another sister by the hand and walk the journey, have her walk the journey with you. And I think sometimes so often we forget about grabbing that sister. Like Dr. Pamela said, there are women out there that are phenomenal. They have smarts, but they don't always have the opportunity. They have wisdom, but they don't always have the capabilities to show the wisdom because of where they may be, what they may or may not have. And so in this day and age where women, we have power, ladies, we have the power. And when we begin to really recognize that and come together as a gender, it's going to be a game changer for the world. And so does anyone want to have any last words in the last few seconds before we close out this phenomenal show?
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you guys are being shy now.
To remember that your biggest asset is what's in your heart. We could have all the followers in the world, we could have all the money in the world, but it could be gone tomorrow. So just what gets you up and going every day, your biggest asset is your passion or whatever your why is for doing what you do.
Oh, I love it. And we're going to close it out with Caren's words of wisdom. Thank you all for viewing us, listening to us, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you so much. We have this show, and if you like the show, please subscribe to the show. Don't be shy. Share the show with other powerful women or women that you know would receive value from this, because, again, the more we can come together as a gender, the better it is, and the more we can do to make this world a better place. I am Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, and I have a fabulous guest of Caren, Sandra, Kelly, and Dr. Pamela with me. And until next time, I'm going to say, grab that sister, that friend, somebody you know or you don't know. Give them a pat on the back, give them a hug, give them a helping hand, and let them know that you're coming from your heart because you want to support them and help them stand into their most powerful essence. And until next time, everyone, this is the Bold, Unstoppable Show. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.